Next up, we had Edward Preble, 19 years old, from Fernandina Beach, Florida. And his whole B-roll, I was like, we gonna hear some New York, or we gonna hear some Luck Be a Lady. And what do we have? Luck Be a Lady by Frank Sinatra. I knew it.
I said it was almost as if they're picking contestants to audition who have qualities of the judge. Now, you all see
we had to have one.
You all see that I'm talking like this, okay? I'm talking like this because Stephanie will tell you I was recently in a production of a show with this song in it. Okay? If you know the show, you know the show.
Yes.
And my problem is when you are doing a specific accent, as I'm doing right now, the accent is in the nuances. And I just think some people overdo it. And being that Stephanie is from this geographical area, she is very familiar with this accent. Okay?
Yeah.
So, when you're talking like you're talking and you're from Florida, but you're talking like you're from, a borough in New York, I'm just like a little suspect. He's like, well, I talk like this my whole life. And I'm just like, calm down. But he's a kid, I said, it's almost as if they're picking contestants. I said, "Oh, voice, what are you doing to us?" I said, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And then I started going back and thinking about previous seasons, and I was like, okay. So a lot of times they'll pick contestants who are in the genre or similar genres as the coaches, because it's more, it's not more prevalent. I don't think it can get any more prevalent than you picking Michael Bublé genre type singer, because it's all
right.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Rat Pack, I left my heart, Tony Bennett, I left my heart in San Francisco type of voice. And I was like, okay, you can already tell by the way this guy is talking. Like my problem is because I was in this production, and I find myself going into the accent of my character. My problem is when I was in the production of this show this past summer, Stephanie will tell you, I made it a conscious point to not do an over dramatization or an imitation of a certain person, which I believe made my performance probably one of the most authentic things I've ever done on stage, right? Because it wasn't a caricature of something. And I felt like Edward's youth came out a little bit. Can Edward sing? He absolutely can sing. Was this less caricature of a previous contestant who did not make it onto the show, who still got to sing? Yes, it was less that. I said, but it was too Frank Sinatra karaoke for me. And you see, Michael even said it. Even though Michael hit the thing, because I felt like it was like obligatory.
Yeah.
Michael hit it and he said, y'all, I am very passionate about this genre of music. Like this has been Michael's career. Michael's become a very wealthy man because he has encapsulated this genre of music and not let it die, right? So I don't want to hear another Michael Bublé. I don't want to hear another Frank Sinatra. I don't want to hear another Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Tony Bennett. I want to hear Edward. Okay? But a very good voice nonetheless.
When someone comes on the show and they're being themselves, but that the themselves has influence, I'll speak for me. I try to understand how much of that is authentically them. I'll put it like this. There are some friends and brothers of Caucasian persuasion that just have a little bit more soul and a little bit more flavor in them. And some of those brothers are just like that. Like, it's not a ruse. It's not they're trying to be something. They just got that flavor into them, right?
I mean, she'll tell you that's my best friend, who Stephanie knows very well. It's just
in him. It's just in him. He's not playing a part. It's just him. So once Edward presented himself the way that he did, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to think about him using that same framework, right? So, like, I was just like, he's got the soul of a 1950s gentleman living in Manhattan. Like, that's just how he presented himself.
Where is your cocktail and your cigarette?
Pretty much. His voice impressed me, though. And like you said, there was a young man who sang standards and did the crooning that did not make it. This young man was a lot more technically skilled and seemed very comfortable singing what he was singing. It was the best so far that I've heard of that particular style. And my thing is always going to be, to a certain extent, because I'm not as familiar with, I know this music. I don't know more than 3 artists that sing this music well. So it's hard for me to establish what makes each one of them different, if that makes sense. So it's very easy to sound like Frank Sinatra, or to sound like Bublé, or to sound like somebody, Dean Martin or whatever, because who else is there as a reference point? You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard when you're singing that style, I feel, to sing it in a way that does not sound like them, because that's the styling of the genre. So I was really glad that a couple chairs turned for him, and I'm really excited for his coach, because I think that his coach is the only person that's going to be able to give him the individuality and the authenticity in this genre that's specifically for Edward.
Let me articulate, I think, a perfect example of exactly what Stephanie's talking about is the now artist. I'm talking about, she is out now, today, and she's huge. Samara Joy. If you've heard Samara Joy, Samara Joy sings same genre of music.
Yes.
But it is so Samara Joy, and so not Samara Joyce doing Ella Fitzgerald, or Samara Joy doing Sarah Vaughan, or Samara Joy doing Billie Holiday.
Yes.
Or one of the other greats of those days, or Dinah Shore, or Rosemary Clooney. It is Samara Joy singing Samara Joy.
You're absolutely right.
You listen to Samara Joy on, things like when she did Terrell on the Terrell show. He has her sing everything.
Yeah.
And just like Bublé started out singing the standards, but he then ventured into his original stuff, and it sounded authentically Bublé, right? That's why I'm like, dude, you are young, you are extremely talented, Edward. So I'm glad, and I hope, and I have a feeling that if you go far in this competition, Bublé is going to strip it down to build it back up. And I'm sorry, I just revealed who he picked, obviously.
That's all right. It was time for it.
I mean, don't you think, Stephanie, strip it down and build it back up?
Absolutely. There's no better coach to do that. Like, it had to be. It had to be.
Yeah. But good job, young man. It is hard to be a teenage male voice and make it on this show.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.